Hi, I'm Todd Jones, host of the podcast Press Box Access. Here's a clip from my interview with Tim Smith. Tim tells us why boxing is the greatest sport to write about. Hey. Truth always reminds me of the great boxing promoter Bob Arum, who once said, "Yesterday I was lying, today I'm telling the truth."
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's one thing that's true about boxing is that once those guys climb in that ring, that's the true moment. That's the truth. And boxing has been such a huge part of your sports writing career, Tim. Your 3 decades plus of writing about sports. You spent many nights either in gyms or at prize fights. How did you originally get into covering boxing?
Well, I worked at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in the mid '80s, and right after Evander Holyfield came out of the Olympics in '84 in the LA Games, they needed somebody to cover his career, and they were going around the newsroom and saying, "Who knows anything about boxing or who likes boxing?" And I mean, I had been following the sport since I was like 12 years old. I still the moment in the sport that sort of captured my imagination was when Ali came to the Atlanta Civic Center to fight Jerry Quarry. I followed that story. I mean, I was 12 years old. I was like in the 7th or the 8th grade. I followed that story. I was fascinated by this guy coming off this, suspension and getting back in the ring.
Yeah, that was
And
1970, right? Yeah.
yeah. And it was just such a fascinating story that I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with Ali, and then just watching him in the ring after that, I just sort of fell in love with the sport.
There was also something about writing in boxing too, right?
Yes.
It lent itself
Yes.
to it, right?
It lends itself, the drama of what goes on in the ring, and just the passion and the heart and the determination, and just the ability to be able to describe, what happens in the ring, and the emotions and everything. And I mean, it sort of just lends itself to all of those elements that you need for a great story.
Yeah, and there's characters. I mean, there's these people that show up. They're just dropped out of some kind of like storyline and fed to you. I mean, think about a guy like Lou Duva, right? A guy that you wrote a book with.
Yeah.
Lou Duva, Fighting Life. The guy spent 7 decades in boxing as an iconic manager and trainer. You couldn't create Lou Duva.
If you went to Central Casting and said, "Give me like the old grizzled, veteran boxing guy, with the twisted nose, and really basically, you would have, the Burgess Meredith from Rocky.
He'll kill you dead, Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically, and people look at that and they think that's the caricature, but it's not. That is
right.
What trainers are. I mean, that's what old school boxing trainers were that guy.